My dear friends, imagine for a moment that you are holding a glowing hot coal in your hand. The heat radiates intensely, searing your flesh with every passing second. You grip it tightly, your fingers curling around its jagged edges, burning with the fierce intention of hurling it at someone who has wronged you, perhaps a colleague who betrayed your trust, a friend who spoke ill behind your back, or a stranger who cut you off in the relentless flow of city traffic. The fire scorches your palm, raising angry blisters on your skin, sending sharp waves of pain shooting up your arm and through your entire body. Your muscles tense, your heart races, and sweat beads on your forehead from the sheer agony of it all. Yet, despite the torment, the coal never leaves your grasp. It clings to you, embedding its heat deeper into your being. In that prolonged moment of suffering, who truly bears the brunt of the pain? Not the person you aim to hurt, who remains untouched and unaware, but you, your hand charred, your mind consumed by the flames of resentment. This vivid imagery is not mere poetry. It is the ancient wisdom the Buddha offered us more than 2,500 years ago, a timeless parable that cuts through the illusions of our ego-driven lives. Holding on to anger is like grasping that hot coal with the intent of throwing it at another. You are the one who gets burned. The Buddha Siddhartha Gautama, who awakened under the Bodhi tree in ancient India, saw the human condition with unparalleled clarity. He understood that anger, or dosa in Pali, is one of the three poisons, along with greed and delusion, that bind us to the cycle of suffering, known as samsara. In his teachings, preserved in the Dhammapada and other sacred texts, he reminds us that anger does not discriminate. It devours the holder first and foremost. In this fast-moving world we inhabit today, where the pace of life accelerates with every technological advancement and social demand, frustrations flare up like wildfires in a dry forest. Think about the daily grind, the endless commute where horns blare and tempers ignite over a mere lane change, the heated arguments in boardrooms or living rooms where words become weapons sharper than any blade, the betrayals, big and small, that pierce our hearts, a partner's infidelity, a boss's unfair criticism, or even the subtle slights on social media where anonymous trolls spew venom from behind screens. Anger feels almost natural, an instinctive response wired into our survival mechanisms from prehistoric times when threats were immediate and physical. It rises quickly like a storm cloud gathering over the horizon, darkening our vision and promising a cathartic release if only we let it loose in the outburst of rage or a calculated act of revenge. But the Buddha saw clearly through this illusion. Anger does not bring peace. It only perpetuates a cycle of turmoil. It poisons the mind, turning clear thoughts into murky swamps of negativity. It clouds judgment, leading us to make decisions we later regret, snapping at a loved one, sending a hasty email that damages a relationship, or escalating a minor disagreement into a full-blown conflict. Moreover, it chains us to suffering, keeping us trapped in a loop where past hurts dictate our present actions. The Buddha taught that hatred is never ceased by hatred. Only by love is hatred ceased. This is the eternal law, Dhamma, ancient and inexhaustible, as unchanging as the rising and setting of the sun. In the Dhammapada, he states, "Hatreds never cease through hatred in this world. Through love alone they cease. This is an eternal law." This principle isn't just philosophical musing, it's a practical guide for navigating the complexities of human interaction. To illustrate, consider the story of Angulimala, a notorious bandit in the Buddha's time who wore a garland of fingers from his victims, symbolizing his unchecked rage and violence. He was a man consumed by anger, driven by a misguided quest for power and revenge against society. Yet, when he encountered the Buddha, who approached him with unwavering calm and compassion, Angulimala's fury melted away. The Buddha didn't fight fire with fire. He met hatred with understanding, leading Angulimala to renounce his ways and become a monk. This transformation shows that even the deepest wells of anger can be emptied through non-anger. In our modern context, think of historical figures like Mahatma Gandhi, who drew from Buddhist principles in his non-violent resistance against colonial rule. Gandhi faced immense provocation, imprisonment, beatings, betrayal, yet he chose to respond with ahimsa, non-violence, echoing the Buddha's teaching that true strength lies in restraint, not retaliation. So let us pause here together and breathe right now in this very moment as you sit or stand listening to these words. Notice any tightness in your chest, any simmering heat in your thoughts. That is anger speaking, whispering seductively that you are justified in your indignation. That revenge or resentment will somehow balance the scales of justice. It convinces you that holding on to the grudge will protect you, that letting go means weakness or surrender. But look deeper, my friends. Anger arises from a wounded sense of self, from the I that feels attacked, ignored, or disrespected. The Buddha invites us to examine this I through the lens of anatta, or non-self. He taught that the self is not a fixed, eternal entity, but an impermanent collection of ever-changing phenomena, physical sensations, thoughts, emotions, perceptions, and consciousness. Like a river that appears solid but is constantly flowing, our sense of I is fluid, constructed from conditions that arise and pass away. When we cling to this illusory self, anger becomes a defender of its fortress walls, but the Buddha urges us to see through this delusion. In meditation practices like vipassana or insight meditation, we learn to observe anger as it arises without identification. Sit quietly, focus on your breath, and when anger emerges, perhaps triggered by a memory of injustice, label it gently. Anger, anger. Watch its physical manifestations, the quickened pulse, the clenched jaw, the knot in the stomach. Notice how it builds, peaks, and eventually fades, if not fueled. This mindfulness reveals anger's transient nature. It is not you, but a passing storm. When anger surges, do not suppress it. That only buries the ember underground, where it smolders and erupts later in unexpected ways, perhaps as passive aggression, depression, or even physical illness. Studies in modern psychology, influenced by Buddhist insights, show that repressed anger can lead to hypertension, weakened immune systems, and chronic stress. Nor should you feed it by replaying the story of injustice over and over in your mind, like a broken record that amplifies the pain. Each mental rehearsal adds fuel to the fire, deepening the burn. Instead, meet it with gentle awareness, become the observer, detached yet compassionate. Ask yourself probing questions. What is this feeling protecting? Is it safeguarding my pride, my sense of control, or my need for validation? What fear hides beneath it? Fear of vulnerability, fear of loss, fear of being unloved or unworthy. Often beneath the blazing surface of anger lies a tender core of hurt, a deep longing to be seen, valued, and respected. When we touch that vulnerability with kindness rather than judgment, the fire begins to lose its fuel. This self-compassion is key. It's not self-pity, but a recognition of our shared humanity. The Buddha encouraged metta, or loving kindness, starting with oneself. In moments of anger, pause and offer yourself words of solace. This hurts, and that's okay. I am human, and I deserve kindness. From this place of inner softness, we can extend understanding outward. The Buddha gave us powerful antidotes to anger, drawn from his profound realizations. First among them is patience, khanti in Pali, the heroic patience that refuses to be shaken by external provocations. Patience is not passive endurance, it is an active choice to remain steady amid chaos. When someone cuts you off in traffic, honking aggressively, remember that their actions stem from their own inner turmoil. Perhaps they're rushing to a hospital or dealing with a personal crisis or simply caught in their own cycle of stress. Their words or deeds come from their pain, their confusion, their unexamined suffering. They too are grasping hot coals, unaware of the self-inflicted burns. By seeing their humanity, compassion naturally arises. Compassion, or karuna, cools the flames like a gentle rain on parched earth. It does not mean you approve of harm or become a doormat. Boundaries are essential. It means you refuse to let their darkness ignite yours, preserving your inner light. To cultivate patience, the Buddha recommended reflection on the impermanence of all things. In the Anicca Sutta, he teaches that everything is transient: pleasure, pain, praise, blame. The insult that stings today will fade tomorrow. The betrayal that wounds now will lose its power in time. Why let a fleeting moment dictate your eternal peace? Practice this in daily life. When irritation builds, count to 10, breathe deeply, or walk away briefly. Over time, patience becomes a muscle, strengthening your resolve. Second, practice loving-kindness meditation or metta bhavana as a direct counter to anger's venom. This is a systematic cultivation of goodwill that rewires the neural pathways of the mind, as supported by contemporary neuroscience research on meditation. Begin in a quiet space, sitting comfortably with eyes closed. Start with yourself, as the Buddha advised, for how can we love others if we harbor self-hatred? Repeat these phrases silently with genuine feeling. May I be free from anger. May I be free from resentment. May my heart be at peace. May I be well, happy, and safe. Feel the words resonate in your body, visualizing a warm light enveloping you. Then extend it to a benefactor, someone who has shown you kindness. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace. Next, to a neutral person, like a stranger on the street. Then, crucially, to a difficult person, the one who triggered your anger. May you be free from pain. May your heart soften. Finally, to all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy, peaceful, and liberated. This practice may feel awkward at first, especially toward adversaries, but persistence yields profound shifts. Stories abound of people who, through metta, forgave profound wrongs, survivors of violence who found peace by wishing well to their perpetrators, not out of naivety, but to reclaim their own freedom. Consider the example of a woman I once knew. Let's call her Maya. She was betrayed by her closest friend who spread malicious rumors that cost her a job and shattered her reputation. For months, Maya burned with anger, plotting subtle revenges and replaying the betrayal nightly. Her health suffered, insomnia, anxiety, a constant knot of tension. Then she discovered metta practice through a Buddhist retreat. Reluctantly at first, she included her friend in her meditations. Over time, the anger softened. She saw her friend's actions as stemming from jealousy and insecurity, not inherent evil. Maya didn't reconcile, but she let go, finding a lightness she hadn't known. Her story echoes countless others. Metta transforms the poison of anger into the nectar of understanding, fostering empathy without excusing harm. Third, remember karma, the law of cause and effect that governs the universe like an unerring moral compass. The Buddha explained that every action, word, and thought plants seeds in the fertile soil of our consciousness, which ripen into future experiences. An angry outburst doesn't just affect the recipient, it sows seeds of discord that return to us manifold, perhaps as strained relationships, missed opportunities, or inner turmoil. But every moment of letting go, every choice of kindness over retaliation, plants seeds of freedom and harmony. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha declares, conquer anger by non-anger, conquer evil by good, conquer stinginess with generosity, conquer falsehood with truth. This isn't about passive goodness, it's strategic wisdom. Choose the higher path, not because it's easy, in fact it often demands immense courage, but because it leads to nibbana, liberation from suffering. Karma invites reflection on interconnectedness. Your anger doesn't exist in isolation, it ripples outward, affecting families, communities, even societies. Look at history, wars fueled by collective rage from ancient battles to modern conflicts, where grudges passed down generations perpetuate cycles of violence. On a personal scale, an angry parent raises resentful children, an irate boss creates a toxic workplace. By breaking the chain through mindful choices, we contribute to a more peaceful world. The Buddha's own life exemplified this. Despite opposition from rivals and even attempts on his life, he responded with equanimity, planting seeds that blossomed into a global tradition of peace. Friends, life is too precious, too fleeting, to spend carrying these burning coals that weigh us down and scar our souls. Each day, from the moment we wake to the hush of night, we are given countless chances to drop them, to release the grip and watch the embers cool. When you feel the familiar tightening in your fist, the heat rising, pause. Breathe in deeply, drawing in the cool, fresh air that fills your lungs like a balm. Hold it for a moment, acknowledging the pain without resistance. Then breathe out slowly, and with that exhalation, visualize releasing the coal. Let it fall to the ground, harmless now, its power dissipated. You are not abandoning justice. True justice arises from clarity, not fury. You are choosing inner peace over an endless, exhausting war that no one wins. But what if the wrong is grave, a deep betrayal, abuse, or systemic injustice? The Buddha's path doesn't demand blind forgiveness. It encourages wise action. Address harm through skillful means, speaking truth calmly, seeking support, or advocating change, without letting anger drive the wheel. Think of activists like Martin Luther King Jr., who, inspired by Buddhist and Gandhian principles, channeled righteous indignation into non-violent protest, transforming society without succumbing to hatred. The Buddha's path is not about becoming emotionless, a stoic statue impervious to life's storms. Far from it, it's about becoming free, fully alive to the spectrum of human experience, free to feel deeply the sting of loss, the ache of disappointment, yet not be ruled by those feelings, not let them dictate your actions or eclipse your joy. Emotions are like visitors. They come, they stay a while, they go. Anger may knock at your door, but you need not invite it in for tea or let it overstay its welcome. In practice, when anger arises, smile at it gently, as you would at a child throwing a tantrum in the midst of play. Acknowledge its presence with warmth. I see you, old friend. I understand why you're here, protecting me from hurt, signaling that something feels wrong, but I no longer need to hold you so tightly. This gentle humor diffuses tension. The Buddha himself often used light-hearted analogies to teach profound truths. In this letting go, a profound calm emerges, like the serenity after a storm has passed. The mind becomes like still water, clear, reflective, undisturbed by the winds of insult, disappointment, or unmet expectations. In this clarity, joy returns not as fleeting pleasure dependent on external circumstances, but as a steady undercurrent, a natural state of being. Relationships heal as we communicate from a place of understanding rather than accusation. Creativity flows unimpeded, no longer blocked by resentment's dams. You walk lighter, unburdened by the weight of grudges, with a spring in your step that comes from true liberation. Imagine a life where small annoyances no longer derail your day, where a rude comment bounces off like water on a lotus leaf, as the Buddha described the enlightened mind, where conflicts become opportunities for growth, not battles to be won. This is possible. It's the fruit of practice, accessible to all, not just monks in distant monasteries. Start small. Today, when anger whispers, respond with one mindful breath. Tomorrow, extend metta to one challenging person. Over time, these acts accumulate, reshaping your inner landscape. So today, let us make this vow together. I choose to let go. Not because the world is perfect, far from it, with its inequalities, cruelties, and uncertainties, but because my heart deserves peace, a sanctuary amid the chaos. Not because others deserve forgiveness without accountability, but because I deserve freedom from the chains of bitterness. I vow to recognize anger's arrival, to greet it with wisdom, and to release it with grace. You have the power within you, the same awakened potential bodhisattva that the Buddha discovered under the Bodhi tree after years of seeking. It lies dormant in every heart, waiting to be stirred by intention and practice. Anger may visit, uninvited and insistent, but it need not stay, need not claim residence in your mind. Welcome it as a teacher, understand its lessons on vulnerability and impermanence, then gently show it the door, thanking it for the insight. As we journey on, may you release every hot coal you've been carrying, whether from yesterday's slight or a lifetime's accumulation. May your mind be calm like a mountain lake, your heart open like a blooming flower, your steps light on this beautiful, imperfect path of life that twists and turns, yet leads ever toward awakening. And in that freedom may you find the deepest happiness, the happiness that arises from within, unshakable, independent of the world's whims, a happiness that no one can take away, for it is your birthright, the essence of your true nature. Peace be with you, now and always.